Yes, that's right. I am 40 years old and going back to college. What horrible mistakes in my life have I made to this point? Like, uh, everyone's like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. That's a good time to go back to college. Is it, though? Is it really a good time to go back to college? It's not like I'm getting a GED. Like then I'd be like, all right, yeah, doors are going to open for me now. Now I'm just going to go back and get like $40,000 worth of debt that I can't pay off and can't go into bankruptcy with because the government. Uh, I guess I shouldn't complain too much since they are the ones giving me loans. Thank you, Daddy. Uh, Anything else you want with that? Maybe my firstborn child. So now I will know what it's like to be a millennial and not be able to afford a house in their 50s. Uh, it's a scary time for me, man, because I was a horrible student. I'm not gonna lie. Like me going back to school, everyone close to me just really said, "Are you sure you want to do this? Do you remember the first time around?" Like like my GPA was so low. If it was a beer alcohol content, you could sell it in Utah. Like that's how bad it was. There was some courses I liked. Uh, the one that really came to mind that I absolutely hated was music appreciation. And you hear music appreciation and go, yeah, I like the oldies. I can listen to some Dale and Dominoes, maybe a little like uh, Ella Fitzgerald, something good, something classy. No, this was like Debussy or Debussy and Bach and a whole bunch of people that have been dead for decades and centuries. And it's something. It was all church music, and I'm fine with church music. Just I don't. There's a reason why I stopped going to church. Like trying to work out the punchline here, but needs to say the class sucked. Let me just say that. It was an awful class. I hope the professor's dead now. I guess that's kind of mean. I also realized that I needed more shit to do in my life because not having a job and just sitting and watching TV is not good for my mental health. The whole just sitting around, like it's gotten to the point where like I'll go through a series in a day, and they're always like series that like will never come back, and it sucks because they're always cliffhangers. It's like I want to know what happened, and maybe if I was actually smart enough, I could write an actual like fanfic of the series. But then like all the characters turn gay and start having sex with each other. Not that that's wrong. Not let me be honest. Like we need more gay representation in media. Uh, there's 10% of the world is gay, and I don't think we get that. And like, where are the gay superheroes? That's what I want to know. Like just the whole like I not even like it like that stereotypical gay superhero like I'm here. Like I just wanted to see like some like butch dude like the Hulk happen to kiss like Hawkeye. And like ooh, me smash. I think that would be fun to watch. I think part of my problem with this whole new thing of me being jobless is I take a lot of BuzzFeed articles now. If you don't know what BuzzFeed is, it's an online magazine that's designed for 20-year-old girls. So they do articles of like 20 size 10 pants that don't fit me. It's like, well, that's not my problem. Like guys don't have the problem of like wearing a size 10. We actually use measurements like real people. Like, like I have a 42 waist. Cool. What pant size are those? 43? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's a little too baggy for me. Oh, 40? Maybe something in the middle? Like I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, wonder if these 38 fit my pants just perfectly. They don't. They make my ass like look like freeze dried chicken breast. Like I don't know, man. Um, so yeah, that's been kind of my week. I didn't even get to the point. Oh, hold on. I went on a giant tirade. I'll be quick with this, but the one thing I do on BuzzFeed is take all the quizzes, and there's always ridiculous titles of like, "We'll find your dream man if you pick out these 10 donuts you like." And they never do. Like, not once is there Seth Rogen as an answer. Like, I try to do all the stoner questions, hoping that one day my prince will come and it's James Franco. It's never James Franco. It's always like Christopher Helmsworth. I'm sorry. If I wanted someone hot and sexy, I'd work out more. Like, I want someone obtainable. Like, I don't want like some beefcake that has like abs that you could do like your laundry on. I want someone that looks like they can eat their way around a cheeseburger. You know what I'm saying, ladies? All right, that's been my week. I guess I'm going to turn it back over to Hickory the Drunken Underwhelming for
Yes,
this.
as we await for our other co-host Collen Doyle to get here. He was experiencing some technical difficulties, but I will now share with you this week's performance.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Hickory the Drunken Underwhelming. Thanks for joining me again at the table. Today I'm going to show you guys kind of a warning. We're going to talk for a second about the three-card Monty, to avoid being scammed. I was in a rougher part of town recently. There was a man with 3 cards, dollar bills on the street corner. Hey, I want to play a game. You got $20 to put up? In fact, I do because it's COVID time, and I had $20 in March, and I still have it. It was like, well, we're going to play a little game. First off, I'm going to make a prediction about how this will at all. It's in my bag. I would like to make this prediction. I'm right on with the prediction. I happen to lose. But if you can remember that. Is your volume up? Prediction that will win. Double. Okay. That seems fair to me. So, okay. So I got 3 cards. Ace of Hearts. Joker. Another Joker. Took that ace. Stuck it right between the 2. Said, okay. Which one is the ace? At this point, I figured he was working on building my confidence, get me, comfortable. I said, well, obviously, it's that setup. Pulled it out, and it was a Joker. He said, no, silly nigga. He said, that ace was on top the whole time. So here, let's follow it. Let's put the ace in the center. 2 Jokers on either side. Begin to move them around real slow. I felt like I could follow it. He said, okay, which one is the ace? I pointed to the center. Of course, I was wrong again. Somehow the ace is over here. He didn't know. I said, okay, so we're going to make this more simple. So he took the $20 that I had laid out in the paperclip. He took that ace. Stuck that on there. The other Joker. He said, see, this Joker right here, you don't need that. If you have this ace with the 20, Joker, so now follow him. point, I was like, oh, I mean, there's a paper clip with my $20 bill on it. There's no way that I can't be wrong. Magician, I felt like I was paying attention to his card handling pretty well. Look at me. I'm glad that $20 is mine now. Which I said, hey, wait. There's a prediction. I made a prediction as to which card you were going to use in the game. He said, okay, magician. What was your prediction? I said, well, I knew you used two jokers. Because, you know, there's you and I. We're the two jokers. I knew all the time is that you'd pick. The ass. The hearts. That, my friends, that's how I managed to hold on to this $20 bill. Thank you all for staying with us on the show. Enjoying. I'm Hickory the Underwhelming. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Was there audio issues there, guys? Could you hear that?
Barely.
Okay. We'll have to figure that out next time. Without further ado, thank you for hanging out. I'm sorry if there was issues there and the people at home were unable to hear it. I will figure that out for next week. Just a little quiet. Without further ado, we'll be bringing our next co-host to the stage. A very funny man. Please welcome to the spotlight stage, Mr. Collen Doyle.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? We faced some technical difficulties at the Comedy Club, as usual. So I'm broadcasting here from my. I'm wondering when, like, it becomes an appropriate time to be able to say, like, back in the day. You know, like. Just recently, I was describing something that happened in like last December, and I was like, yeah, you know, that was great when we used to, you know, go to that place indoors at that restaurant that we could sit in and enjoy, you know, back in the day. And we just realized that like quarantine has shifted our whole like, you know, time. So then now we have back in the day, we have the, as they say, the AC and BC. The before Corona. I want to just briefly talk about the fact that like all these people who are saying like New York is dead, what a bunch of whiny fucking brats, you know? Just shut up about it, you know what I mean? It's like, I can't stand it because New York is never right for these people, right? You know, back in like the 70s, you know, there was a lot of prostitution on 42nd Street, the sex shows, there was a lot of crack around, it was drug prostitutions, and that was the New York that so many people loved, you know? Yeah. And then that went away, and Giuliani came in, he made Times Square Disney World, you know, Disney New York, and then everyone's like, you know, man, like, this isn't my New York anymore. My New York was shooting heroin in the East Village, you know, and listening to punk rock. Like this isn't my New York, man. And then it's like we take one step back towards that, and people are like, fuck, man, I've lost my New York. I've lost my New York. It's like, what New York was that? Was that Italy in the Flatiron District? Like, what New York? It's like it's never the right New York for them. It's like it was just 12 months ago, it was way too like hoity-toity for most of these New Yorkers. And now it's like, oh, wow, if Soho's had stores that were outrageously expensive destroyed, it's not my New York anymore. It's like, you know, if it's all graffitied, it's not my New York. It's like, I thought that wasn't your New York when it's also confusing. Speaking of New York, Donald Trump weighed in his professional opinion on what's happening with the California forest fires. And I think it was really enlightening. And he said not enough people have listened to him, and people need to listen to him because I think he has a really good point. He said that California needs to, and quote, clean the floors. They have to clean their floors. I've said this. They laughed at me. They laughed. Nobody cleaned their floors, and now California's burning. So clean your floors. It's like, I love how he thinks that all problems can be solved just by simply treating the problem like the way he tells his Mexican labor. You know, it's just like, why wasn't someone cleaning the floors and replacing the towels? I'm confused. Shouldn't be burning like this. Of course, the California wildfires were started not because they didn't clean their floors, but because one tree was hit 230 times by lightning. After over 2,000 lightning strikes, it burst into flames. They're like, clean your floors. Clean your floors. It's an expression. It's an expression that I and only I have used in my life. It's scary because I'm finding myself not being able to enjoy like apocalyptic films anymore. They're like hitting a little too close to home. like I went to watch X-Men last night, and it was like, in the future, the days are dark. They became an enemy even us mutants could not defeat. The humans became enslaved. It's like, is this 2022? Like, what are we talking about? How far in the future was this? You know? Because I'm wondering, I'm like, at what point do we become alarmed, right? Like, I feel like we've always like talked about like this idea of like another civil war or a race war or whatever. But it's like, at what point do people start being like, oh, yeah, that guy just got shot. Like, that guy just got shot. And that guy just got shot. I think we may be in the war. I don't know. At what point, like, do we wait till like someone blows up Cincinnati? Like, I don't know. Which brings me to my next point. And I just like to clear the air on this because I know there's some confusion. Not all liberals want to take your guns away from you. I know this is like a big fear. The liberal Democrats are coming for your guns, you know. And I just don't think that that's really anything people have to fear. I mean, I think that if you go to the left far enough with guns, you end up coming kind of back to the right a little bit on that. It's kind of like a full circle sort of thing. And it's like, you know, listen, and I think that when you look at the libertarian values, it's like most people, you know, they just, they don't want to deal with any shit, you know. I saw that the Vermont census participation low is basically the lowest in the whole country. We refuse to fill out the census, and they're like trying to figure this out. They're like, why? Is it because of COVID? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Are people not getting their mail? It's like, no, we're getting the mail. We're getting the mail. We just don't feel like telling people all of our information.
Yeah.
It's like, at what point do we want to be like, I failed to fill out the paper because I'm a slacker. And so I got visited by one of these people, and they asked me all these questions, but they're not a lot of questions, right? Like, one of the questions is, are you Mexican, Latin, or of Spanish descent? If you answer yes to that, the census person usually says, fucking piece of shit. But they go to the next question, which is more about, you know, did you own your home? Did you rent your home? Are you homeless? Are you squatting? And then they wanted to know about my nationality. I'm wearing an Italian horn now. I have an Irish last name. They asked me if I know anything about my nationality. Not a goddamn thing. I am, as far as I know, I classify myself. See, there's a lot of ethnicity. I'm not seeing white privilege on the list. I guess Caucasian will have to suffice. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't know where we're at in this show.
We're on to the guest. If you want to introduce him, my friend.
Want a second host or a guest?
Guest.
Well, I would love to. Tonight, I'm very excited to be able to introduce our next guest. Dear friend of the Woolen Mill Comedy, Pooch the Comedian.
Aww.
I had you there for a minute. Hi guys, it's me, Dick. I don't get out much because of the pandemic. I don't talk to humans much, so let's see if I could fumble through this right now. Let's see. Last time I was on the show, probably the last time I talked to a human being. I had a beard down to here. My nice quarantine beard. I looked like a garden gnome that fought for the Confederacy. I looked like an alcoholic hippie carpenter. And I say that with confidence because I am an alcoholic hippie carpenter. So, I think this is it's right where I need to be. A lot going on in the world right now. I think I want to talk about some very pressing issues. Weed. I want to talk about weed because my weed guy moved away, and I'm very excited about being able to go to Massachusetts and buy retail weed without having to get a medical card and jump through all those obscure hoops. And I can just, go to a store and buy some weed. And I'm excited about retail marijuana because weed is labeled and, you get a feel for what kind of high you're going to get. And I think that's going to be good for weed in general because a lot of people say, I don't smoke weed. It makes me paranoid. And I understand that because you probably just had the wrong strain of weed. There's plenty of different strains of weed. There's weed that makes you happy, weed that makes you stupid, weed that makes you one with the furniture, weed that makes you creative. And then there is this one very, very dark strain of weed out there, which I have called, oh my God, what have I done weed? Which it plays like this highlight reel of like every horrible, awkward, embarrassing scenario that you've ever initiated in your life. And you just like the darkness sets in and you don't know whether you want to like call people and apologize or just go to sleep and wake up so that you can go back to being a shitty person. But I think having labels on weed, I think retail weed is going to make that so much better. I had some great weed recently, and I got so high that I forgot the letter Q was a thing. That really, I just completely, and here's the worst part, absolute worst part. This is a true story. I was in quarantine with everything going on. I was doing my digital activism, and I was trying to spell equality. Mm-hmm. You know what kind of white privilege you have to forget how to spell equality? I'm like EQ, no. Or sorry, EC, EK, ECH, no. Fuck. There are people dying in the streets right now to trying to be more society. And I'm like, equality, you say? How are you spelling that exactly? So anyway, I had a birthday recently. I turned 43 years old. I went to the doctor. I told my doctor what happened, that I forgot how to spell equality. I'm having memory loss. And my doctor, they ran some tests. They did a diagnosis on me. And it turns out I have a condition. It's called early onset Joe Biden syndrome. Side effects include memory loss and racism, which explains forgetting how to spell equality. Lack of self-reflection or introspection, irritable, overconfidence, compulsive lying is one of them. I'm actually 40. I'm not 43. I just felt compelled to misrepresent my past in that instant. It's not me, it's the disease. And There are sexual side effects too, unfortunately. I used to have a great sex life with my wife. Now I am only turned on by the idea of fucking Americans who need better health care. Like, you know, if I see a bunch of yoga moms out at brunch, I am softer than Biden's record on racial justice. Like, I am, but I mean, immigrant communities, I'm standing at attention. That's nothing new. But like if I'm at, you know, the grocery store, I see a guy, you know, an obese guy in an electric wheelchair with an oxygen thing on his face, I am physically aroused. Like I want to put that guy down in a candlelit room with a fire that was started with past due medical bills and lay him down on a bed of roses and collection notices and make sweet love to him. It's the disease, though. It's not me. So we'll talk about the election. I think I might have mentioned this once before. It's a very important election because this is the first election in which two sexual predators are vying for leadership at the same time, two open sexual predators. That hasn't happened for 1,100 years since Ben Forkbeard and Olaf Haraldsson challenged each other for the chieftainship of Umbral Plains somewhere in Scandinavia. And Haraldsson, much like Trump, Haraldsson used to pillage the Volga every year, and just like Trump, he parades around an illiterate, scantily clad Slavic bed slave. But Biden, on the other hand, Biden sniffs the children of his enemies, which is like, it's like a whole different level of don't fuck with me. And I just think that, you know, given America's, you know, long history of voting against its best interests, and the general ignorance of American voters, that Biden's legacy of statutory awkwardness could put him over the edge. You know, that could be what his campaign is. We like edgy. So voters like edgy. And so sniffing children could be that wild card factor when we go into November's elections. Very divisive time in America. The election's coming up, very divisive. We have a lot of different opinions out there right now, a lot of divergent opinions. And that's okay, you know. You can have your opinion and I can have mine. Everybody's entitled to your opinion. That just doesn't mean that you shouldn't kill yourself. I mean, because there are a lot of horrible opinions out there that we gotta, like, all right, climate change, for example, kind of a big deal, right? I'm gonna give you a metaphor on climate change, right? Let's say we're all in a life raft, right? We're in a life raft. Our species is in a life raft, and some people don't believe that sharks or drowning is real, and so we should stab the side of the life raft. I'm eating that person first. So that's my metaphor there. And I realize I just told 1/4 of Americans to kill themselves. So that's that's on the internet now. But everybody says, look, you can have your opinion and I can have mine, and that's what makes America great, right? My white bread Ronald Reagan worshiping father shoved that down my throat when I was growing up. And that I don't really believe that, because we're not the only country where disagreements are legal, right? That's not like people have been disagreeing all across the world for a long time. It's not like Hitler invaded Poland because Anna and Peter Kowalski had a disagreement over what to have for lunch. People have been disagreeing over shit for a long time. We've had a few disagreements in this country before. We actually had a big one. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called the Civil War. And nobody said, okay, you guys can have your opinion down there. We'll keep ours up here, and we'll just agree to disagree on, slaves, among other things. And a little known fact, this is an important piece of Vermont history, little known fact about the Civil War is that the only reason it was won is because of Vermonters, because Vermont hemp farmers developed a strain of weed called "Oh My God, What Have I Done" weed. And they brought it down and they gave it to Confederate soldiers. And within a month, they were completely demoralized. It was downhill after that. So, yeah. Anyway, crazy times right now. I'm glad to see you guys. I'm glad to converse with other human beings other than my toddler and that large nippled bulldog you saw right there. And I guess I will defer to the group, and we'll go from there.
Dicky B, thank you for being with us, sir. We appreciate your company.
Thank you for having me on your chest.
It's great to see you again. I just wanted to make a note that alcoholic hippie garden gnome carpenter, this might be the rapture. Dicky B might be Jesus.
I am the chosen one.
I mean, we had the plague, we had locusts, we've had fires. Yeah, this might be the second coming of Jesus, and everybody's just going to be too stubborn to recognize it.
So you're saying I'm going to have to get naked and jump up and down for Dicky?
If you want to.
I'm just thinking kickstart the rapture process.
You are the one.
You guys are all forgiven, by the way. I think you guys are apostles.
Oh, good.
And if I'm wrong, by the way, and any of you guys are right, you guys could be. I'll be one of your apostles. I'll follow you guys into whatever.
I just know that if I do get violent, that's going to be towards anybody named Judas. At this point.
No, if
that name's up there with Adolf, totally died off.
If you get crucified, I will say what I've been saying, and that is all lives matter.
Oh man.
Oh, what a crazy week. The only other comment I wanted to make was gay superheroes is G-dubs. I want to say that most of the original comic books were kind of gay. Just, they're all wearing underwear over their leotards.
Yep.
It was the original movement, I think.
Are you telling me the Wizard was gay? Because there's no way a superhero called the Wizard. Super hetero.
I am unfamiliar with the Wizard, but I would.
Yeah, I was gonna say me too. I wish I had more to share.
Have they gotten less or more gay? It's hard to tell. I mean, it started out in the 60s like very gay, but then of course Joel Schumacher, who rest in peace, I had the pleasure to work with, really wonderful guy. He made what they considered the gayest Batman. He was a very well-known gay director. And I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll see how gay Robert Pattinson portrayal is. And I guess we'll have to go from there.
For a billionaire, like Bruce Wayne could have done way more for the people of Gotham City had he just paid taxes. I mean, no, I'm definitely gonna dress up like a bat and fight the Joker who wants to give everybody money from a giant. What was it? Remember the original Bruce Wayne one? That Bruce Wayne one? The
Michael Keaton.
Bruce Willis. Whatever that guy. No, not Bruce Willis.
Michael Keaton.
I don't know. I was like 11 when it came out. And the Joker was dumping money off of a blimp or something, and we were led to believe that he was the villain. I couldn't wrap my head around that then, and as I'm sitting on a pile of bills at home, I can't wrap my head around it now. I'm
You know who was a really good thought, because when you think who is a real good villain actor in the 90s, oh, that's Jim Carrey. Absolutely, guy's terrifying.
Don't forget Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. That was he's
and
also
then have him break out into a Broadway musical in the middle of the show. Oh, I'm Mr. Freeze. I'm the Mr. Freeze. I'm not killing you all this stuff. Freezy freeze. It's like, at what point were they shooting that going like, yeah, this looks like a Batman film?
Your impersonations are too good, Colin. We're going to get copyright struck in. They're going to think this was audio from...
Tons of bitches are using Warner Brothers Mr. Freeze. I'm a Mr. Freeze.
Having not seen that before, I can assure you that that's where I will rabbit hole as soon as we get off here.
It's worth a watch, man. That one's a killer one. It's got Poison Ivy in it.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Yeah, that had like everybody.
But God bless Schumacher for it, because, he said he was like, we're making movies for kids, we're trying to sell like action figures and McDonald's Happy Meals and shit out of this. Like, that was where they took that franchise then. And then it was like, all of a sudden, like, Nolan got a hold of it. It was just like, watch me blow this guy's head off. Like, it just completely different take on it. And I am excited for this.
We got a comment in from Vinny. He said that, the Joker who released the money from the blimp then gassed all the people trying to get the money.
Oh,
natural selection.
So,
not just philanthropy after all.
Released poison gas. Same thing. Well, as opposed to Nolan's Joker, who just lit $4 billion on fire in a warehouse for kicks.
What a great scene that was.
There's actually a great episode of Film Theory where he goes through and picks apart that scene to decide how much money there actually was, or there would be in a pile that large. And it's, he burned billions of dollars is basically
I was going to say, it's funny because an actual $1 million in cash is approximately a stack of cash 50 inches high. I think $10,000 is a half an inch. And so $100,000 would be basically 5 inches times 10 would be 50 inches.
Yes,
so cash is actually surprisingly.
Do you think millionaires measure their dick length in stacked bills?
Oh yeah. Talking to a $9,000 cock over here, right?
Hey man, I lost 30 pounds. I got an extra 5,000 on that bad boy. been doing a lot of stretching.
I like that, Dickie. That's better than the centimeters. You got to go with the C note measurement.
Yeah, that's a great.
It's gonna be a lot of them.
When you go, I'm this big, it's more impressive that way.
I think Ski Mountain should start going with that. That'd be more impressive. God, we had a $50,000 snowfall last night. Getting on to some topics for the week. I want to talk about, see if anybody caught anything from the RNC last week. And that pile of ridiculousness was just about as ridiculous as the DNC. Did anybody have any opinions walking away from that thing?
The one thing that I want to say is, at least like the RNC had a little flair for the dramatic.
I would agree.
Like you had Pence on the bridge of that ship, and the big guns behind him, and it's like, yeah, fucking military shit, yeah, fucking guns, compared to the same blue background at the DNC.
I'm just proud that we live in a day and age where both conventions could take place without anybody actually having a conversation about substantive policy changes, and they could just keep everything in the abstract rhetoric and false promises.
I will say the one thing I liked about the RNC is, I don't know if any of you guys saw Nicholas Sandman's speech.
No.
And I love that smug little son of a bitch. I don't know why. And I can say that now. He's 18. He turned 18 a while ago. So please don't sue me, Nicholas, because you have a way better lawyer than I'll ever have. But yeah, he was the guy who got defamed by CNN during the whole, about a year ago. He was wearing a MAGA hat out front of the Capitol, and the guy was banging a drum in front of his face, and they took the clip and said that he was giving a hard time to a Native American protester. And it turned out to be a whole fake thing where he just stood there and didn't do anything. And yeah, he got about, from what I had read, he got about $80 million out of CNN.
Wow.
So good for him. Because
Now, you know, as everyone knows, I get my news weekly from the quarantine show. So I'm getting brought up to speed on a lot of things. First thing is I would say about this poor kid who had to suffer the beating of a drum, a Native American drum, anywhere near him. $80 million. This is just classic exploitation of the youth. Secondly, the RNC, I saw that they used the White House. That's a good set. And they...
it is beautiful.
I can imagine. Trump's like, you're wondering why I'm the president? Maybe we filmed this in the Oval Office. This is your president coming to you, talking about being the president.
Biden can't do this right now.
Yeah, there is no way in hell Biden could do this, what I'm doing at the moment. And to Biden, I have one message, and the message is simple. Clean your floors. Clean your floors. You got to clean your floors. It's an expression.
After listening to that, I would say Biden's probably got the cleanest basement of anybody alive right now.
I would imagine so. But unfortunately, I did want to actually catch some of the RNC. I wasn't able to catch it. But I have to ask you this, and I don't know if enough people have brought attention to this. At the end of, I think, the first night of the DNC, there was a gentleman who sang, "Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everyone, look what's going round." You know the song?
Yeah, the musical performance in front of the blacked out flag.
It was a weird 3D thing. This guy's here singing this song. And what the irony, I think, was of the song was this song was literally written in like the 1960s. It's a very popular 1960s like protest song. You know, there's something happening here. What it is, ain't clear. There's a man with a gun over there, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard the song a million times. What farther have we gotten? How much farther have we gotten since the Vietnam War? You know what I mean? Like, this same protest song for 70 fucking years is applicable. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's like, play WAP. Just like end the show with WAP and be like, you know what? This is what we're changing. We're changing the world with some wet ass pussy. Like, at least that makes sense. Why are you playing a song? It's like playing like a slave song from like the 1800s. Like, all day don't come. It's like, just move on with this and let's not keep living in this horrible, horrible past we created. It's like, our day's gonna come. It's like, not if we're all fucking systematically suppressed. I mean, let's move on here. I just think that was an elephant in the room of that thing that I just couldn't even believe. I'm like, this is, the irony is impeccable.
It was the DNC, so it was the donkey in the room, right? Just for clarification.
You know, it's like on the one, like I get more agitated by the DNC because, you know, I guess I'm just more disappointed. You know, my expectations, or at least my optimism, are higher. My expectations just haven't been beaten to the ground yet. And each time I hold out and I'm like, well, maybe this time they'll throw us a morsel. You know? And like,
I find that too, that like you expect more. Well, like out of both parties at this point, and you're just not seeing it. And
Well,
It's
the
sad.
DNC is, as the Republican Party drifts farther to the extreme right, the Democratic Party is trying to pick up the middle, and they're trying to say like these crazy people that think that like maybe you shouldn't lose your house like if you break your arm. Maybe you shouldn't declare bankruptcy over medical bills. That's radical communist talk. Okay, Ho Chi Minh, go back to your bunker. Like, no, we're going to appeal to the subdivision crowd this time around because maybe they've been, and we'll risk losing too. Good chance we're going to lose because we're going to go to steal those votes versus the ones that we feel entitled to.
Well, I feel like Bernie Sanders' endorsement in the DNC that he filmed apparently in Hen of the Worms was literally like a sign-off speech to the end of democracy as we know it. It was just like laid out like, let me tell you, this is probably the last time you'll ever hear from me. Fascism is on the rise. A crazy dictator is at the helm. A man who said, even if he loses, might not leave the office. Might not leave. Just going to stay here forever. So if you never hear from me again, my friends, this has been Bernie Sanders signing off. It's just played out. Like, this is just in the end of it, we'll just lower the flag on democracy and just what's that song with the trumpet that people play? Taps,
I will say what I'm liking to see on the RNC side right now is that there is some very moderate black conservatives pushing for some Senate seats, trying to get some of these 60-year-old, 70-year-old old white men who Kim Klacik is pushing in Baltimore. There's a very, and she's awesome. And there's another one pushing in somewhere in around Philly, one of those districts. And it's nice to see that, there are a few moderate conservatives out there. They just all happen to be black. And the best part was one of the old white guys, I wish I could remember the place, is all about Black Lives Matter. And the black conservative stance is, well, if you really believe that, like, let me have your office.
Yeah, this is what, like, I don't understand, though, with, like, someone like Trump. Like, he said, he's going to help the black community. He's like, when I become the president, no one's going to do more for the black community than me. And it's like, you and your family were the largest developers in New York City for the last, 40 years. Like, at any point, you could have done a lot for the black communities and a lot for the downtrodden communities. You just have chose not to, you know what I mean? And you'll continue to choose not to because this is what we do. And we create ghettos and we create shit places for people to live and suppress, whatever you want to call it, systematic suppression or whatever, it's like it's gone on. And to a tune that's much sicker than people realize, you know what I mean? But you don't have to be the president of the United States to make a difference. You have to be a real estate developer or civil engineers, and your transportations agencies that, whether or not they allocate fund to help people with transportation or not, these are more important than, and that can happen at any level. People always put it out into the future. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. Well, why haven't you ever done that your whole life? Why haven't you ever advocated for, low-income housing one time in your entire life?
I feel like
billions of dollars. You never said, "Hey, here's a house for low income." You know what I mean? It's like,
Colin, you just gave a rant speech about why you shouldn't vote for Joe Biden. I think that's
it's a rant speech for all of us.
It was kind of like, well, I've been in politics for 47 years, but the next 4 years are going to be way different.
It never is.
Exactly.
It never.
On both ends. Well, here's the thing. If Trump wins, the financial backers of the conservative right win, and if Biden wins, the same financial backers win. I mean, the only people that lose are us.
Yeah, it's the same 9 people.
Yeah.
To talk about something fun before we go, and a positive thing that our government's done recently, I wanted to bring up Operation Not Forgotten. where U.S. Marshals have freed like 75 plus children from trafficking, which was a news story that wasn't covered much by the mainstream media because, well, a positive story that happens under Trump won't be covered. I don't know if you guys saw it, what you thought. I thought it was great. I think we need more of that. And I think it's nice to have one of those topics where no matter how far left or far right you are, you're probably not for child trafficking.
Oh, speak for yourself, man.
This is a hotbed bipartisan issue here. I just want to.
I mean, I spent years at Epstein University.
What nationality were these kids, and are they getting special cages they're getting put into now?
Well, I want to say
their own cage now.
Is this from the 1400 that they lost? Are they just reclaiming their
If you'll
kids?
excuse me, I'm going to finish the show, by the way, doing my impression of U.S. immigration policy towards children. Keep carry on, guys.
I don't know what's happening, but it's getting kind of hot.
I'm in a dog crate.
Guy.
Yep.
This is how Dicky spent his first 7 years coming into this country.
Yeah. As parents, we talked about how to raise our kid. We decided to crate trainer. We understand. We got a lot of flack for that. Got a lot of support from the human trafficking.
I got to spotlight that one.
Anyway,
Oh, that's a great shot.
Underwear. I should probably be cognizant of that.
That cage looks way bigger than the one they kept me in.
Right.
Mine didn't even have doors.
Yeah. Jesus, look at the natural daylight he's got just above his head, lucky bastard.
It's only an impression, guys.
The throwbacks earlier, that was my favorite part about the DNC was Michelle Obama's speech where she gave Trump a hard time about the cages and totally forgot the part about her husband was the one who commissioned the building of them.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's all the same wheel. It's funny because when you look at going all the way back to the Clinton administration, Bush administration, Obama administration, Trump administration, there have been these more broad-stroking moves towards detainment of illegal immigrants, and it's for whatever reason they've pushed it hard with Trump. It's always been it's funny because I think when people say when they talk about the liberal media like attacking Republicans and stuff like that, I think that this country is equally as ugly all the time. Yep. But that we choose when to make it uglier. And we choose when to show it's uglier.
Obama's main nickname was the deporter in chief.
Yeah,
I mean, he deported that dude, Obama. He
deported way more people in his first 4 years than Trump had so far.
And a tremendous amount of drone strikes in the Middle East and things like that, and a tremendous amount of warfare. But the problem is he comes off as intelligent and articulate.
Yep.
So you just kind of look and you go, well, this is a much more articulate, literate, representation of this country. And then you get these like Obama or Bush. Sometimes when I try to talk about Trump, I say Bush. Actually, I'll be trying and I'll say, well, what Bush is trying to do this. And I'll be like, it's Trump now. But it's
to those ends, though, so when you look at it, look, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but I also don't have this euphoric memory reconstruction of the 4 years. Like I had the same pile of medical bills on my shelf before Trump took office, Yep. And it's been going on and on and on. W got this country in a lot more hot water and, imperial wars than Trump did. And, not to sound too, pinheaded, but, Trump, okay, he's belligerent. He says a lot of things that people don't like to hear. He's provocative like that. He's actually been pretty ineffective at dismantling all the institutions that he said he was going to do. Policy-wise, people think he's the boogeyman, but policy-wise, he actually hasn't I would argue that W has done more institutional damage to this country than
Massively.
I would
agree.
say part of that, I mean, the fact that Trump spent his first 3 years trying to defend himself from from being impeached, basically, was his like first 3 years of his presidency were just like.
I mean,
Russiagate itself was like, there's
3 years.
Could have lost.
It ended in January of this year, and then they tried to start Ukraine Gate, and then COVID hit. And
but
then
you know what? What's
Let me just
crazy
ask
to
you
me?
2 questions really quick. How much is Soros paying all of you guys? And what are your check-in days for Putin when you guys have to have your one-on-one Zoom check-in meetings for supervision with Putin?
Well, I will say Soros flies me to the private island like 1 week a year.
Yeah.
And for that, I have to ghostwrite articles for journalists for the Washington Post. So.
Oh my God, it's
I'm
nuts.
still waiting for that Soros check.
But this is the one thing I don't understand that I never understood, but I heard a million times is Benghazi.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking bloody shit. You had 4 people die. That's a terrible thing. But the fact that we beat this to a bloody pulp, I mean, my God, 4 people died. And the time I just said Benghazi, 4 people just died of some heinous murder that no one will ever even be able to comprehend.
Yeah, I was going to say, the ironic part being that 32 people have died in the riots since May. And, nobody's, the only ones that are getting covered are like the last 3. Because they happen to be gun violence as opposed to, fire. Like, it's crazy.
Benghazi was another, neoliberal imperialist meddling, more of that bullshit. I mean, that was, another regime change endeavor to, usurp and obstruct the self-determination of states that don't, accept the Washington Consensus. I mean, Gaddafi's, what was his big thing? Pan-hemispheric solidarity, divest from the dollar, possibly a hemispheric currency, paying back the IMF World Bank loans of his neighbors. I mean, that's a death sentence. I mean, that is literally a death sentence. And
don't get off the dollar, man.
Yeah, I mean, it challenges U.S. economic hegemony. I mean, so that's what that whole thing was. I don't know how the hell we ended up focusing on this, like, narrow, minute, so, like, focus on emails. Like, no, focus on, like, how this was, like, a horrible policy blunder that, it worked from Washington standards. I mean, because Gaddafi's out and but that was just, and that is something that we have a very bipartisan history of in this country, and that's just completely disregarding the self-determination of other states when it doesn't affect our interests. And if you don't believe me, look at the UN voting records when we have consistently voted against the self-determination of other states and, the idea of a more equitable economic system. Literally, we're like, only no vote. Like, no, that's ridiculous. I mean, freedom and democracy, yeah, but not actually.
Yeah. To wrap up, we're going to run a few minutes over. I hope everyone's okay with that.
Yeah.
To end this on something non-political, just so we all leave in a happy, fun space, I want to talk about my Wi-Fi smart oven, okay? So the beautiful assistant and I are working on the purchase of a new home, which has been dragged out because there's thousands of people moving to our state because it's, beautiful and not crowded and there's no riots here. So people are coming here in droves. Our local high schools added 110 students this year, which is about the size of both Colin and I's graduating class from said high school. So anyways, I want to talk about, I got a Wi-Fi smart stove. We didn't buy it because it was a Wi-Fi. We bought it because it was the best option for the price, and it was dual fuel. So we have a propane range and an electric oven, which is the American dream. For those of you who don't cook, that's the American dream. I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on Wi-Fi integration and shit like an oven. I understand it's nice to be able to lock my car from my phone, but like, who's turning on their oven on their way home from work. I don't get
Russian hackers.
Well,
it's a
I
plot
wanna
to burn
know-
down American homes, I tell you.
Hickory, are you one of the people that uses the oven as a storage unit as well?
No. I cook professionally. We don't store shit
Where do you keep your kids when you go out?
in their cages in the basement like a normal human.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, this is an excellent question. You know, it was funny because, as many of you know, my arch nemesis Jeff Bezos' company, Amazon, has
Two equal and
integration.
opposing adversaries.
Huh?
Two equal and opposing adversaries.
Yes, you know, destined since birth to to wage unlimited chaos in the world. Bezos, I'm not on Bezos's radar probably because he's the world's richest man, and I'm, you know,
You're the cotton candy king of Bridgewater.
and perhaps cotton candy is set to take over the world. I'm perfectly positioned. It's easily consumed and it's delicious and it's unique. At any rate, the Alexa integration I think is just outstanding because this is the thing. Is like my neighbors in New York, they have put Alexa in everything. From his door, he walks to his door like automatically opens, or he does some stupid keypad or something like that. It makes a lot of noise. He enters his apartment. Much noisier than a key, but all right. So now he's in his apartment. Now he comes into his apartment. He says, Alexa, lights on. Alexa this, Alexa that. All I'm listening to is Alexa, Alexa, Alexa. We had a light switch. It was quiet. You knew if your light was on or off. You didn't have to act like a pompous fucking piece of shit screaming it at the top of your lungs. You know, I get it. You have Alexa. Good for you.
It raises the question, though, if you really wanted to troll this guy, could you sit in your apartment with a megaphone when he's not home and just jack up his electric bill over there with a megaphone like, Alexa, play Netflix, turn on all TVs.
Alexa, turn on fucking everything.
Alexa, set heat to 95 degrees.
Alexa, turn on all vibrators.
Which actually brings me to my last question for the panel is with all this crazy Wi-Fi integration on everything, what's the one item you guys think that you don't have Wi-Fi integration that you'd really like? I was personally thinking a flashlight would be great if I could just, flashlight turn on warming, and it just gets ready for me on my way home from work. I don't have to worry about it. Like flashlight pre-lube, and it just, you know, I get home, I can hop in the shower, she's all warm and ready, she's got that WAP ready.
See, that's where you're wrong, man.
What?
Like, that's where you're wrong. Like, I understand about having a moist fleshlight, but you want that shit cold, like a dead body.
Reminiscent of your real sex life, where you just, you know, you do your deed, then you shut the trunk, push the car into the lake, and walk away.
Pull Ted Kennedy.
I'm waiting on that app.
What about you, Dicky? What do you think? Anything you need Wi-Fi integration on that you don't have yet?
I'm the opposite. I would much rather have like a scantily clad Slavic bed slave, much like the president, that I could be like, Alexa, you know, shut the light off, and yes, of course, you know, and like, Alexa, dude, how about dinner? Like, Alexa, rig the elections, you know, like.
Dickie, you were so old school, my man. He actually wants the physical Alexa doing the shit.
Yep.
That's very 2015 of you, my friend.
You know what I would love Wi-Fi access to is the fucking light bulbs at the Woolen Mill Comedy Club.
Oh.
How sweet would that be? So we could actually do the Wi-Fi color array. And I mean, I think that would just jazz it up. You know what you would need for that, though, is a studio audience.
Oh, what a novel concept that is.
What? You know, back in the day, we used to do that. And
I remember many moons ago.
you remember that back in the day?
Yeah, we used to walk 15 miles uphill both ways to that comedy club.
Yeah.
With a baked potato in our pocket to keep our hands warm. And then we'd have to eat it when we got there because we were starving and we didn't want to drink on an empty stomach.
Every comedian shared a communal cigarette that just passed around the group.
Yeah. And the headliner got to ride in on a horse. Those were good times.
Of course, it was a MAME horse.
Yeah.
Probably not get the horse back. That's for sure.
G-Dubs, anything you want hooked up to Wi-Fi you don't have yet?
I wish like I could hook my dog up to Wi-Fi, just so
Like give you updates on him and stuff?
yeah, like oh he needs to go to the bathroom, instead of me guessing.
It just sends you a message like, Dad, my food bowl's empty, man.
Oh yeah. Oh no, he does that himself.
Okay.
He will smack the shit out of his dishes. Like get up, fat boy. I need more water.
I think Elon Musk just created a pig that can literally do that.
Anybody else mortified about them putting microchips in animals so that they could communicate?
Yes. I don't want my food talking back to me.
I don't want my dogs spilling the beans. Like
It's really gonna turn that relationship I have with that sheep real weird.
Yeah.
When he starts telling me what he thinks about our relationship.
It might be good though. Then you literally could get updates like, I'm about 6 months away from being prosciutto. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the amount of times I've jerked off in my living room with my dog present, like I don't need him telling his mother about that.
Get home, it's like, hey, Daddy accidentally hit me when he finished.
Yeah. No one needs that.
That's a sad story about our cat. She was pissed. She didn't look at me right for like 3 days. Like, hey, you shouldn't be lying that close on the bed. Okay, that's your fault.
Yeah, you know what goes on here. You
don't stand downrange at a gun range. Okay, the safety rules say that you're not within like 4 feet of Dad when happy time's going on.
Yeah.
Anyways,
or sad, depressing, lonely time, depending on who's watching.
well, I mean, the only one surprised was her, I think. She looked surprised, scared, sad, and then shocked. It was a whole mix of emotions washed over my cat's face. And,
yeah.
Bless her heart. She's been great ever since. She hears the squeak of the bed and she runs now. It's great. Anyways, we're about 10 minutes over. Guys, run around. Quick couple plugs. Dicky B, start with you.
I do nothing now. I have canceled everything in my life other than this. I don't. I got nothing.
Okay, so tune back into the Hickory Drunken Under Quarantine show at some point to catch some more of Dicky B, because we'll definitely have him back in the I don't know, next 10 weeks or so. I'm sure
I'll leave the house.
we'll bring him back around. Who knows what's going on next week? It'll be our 20th episode special, which is crazy that we've been doing this. That'll be 5 months now. Because I remember about 3 weeks in, I was like, oh, guys, the quarantine's going to be over soon. We're going to have to change the name of the show and come up with new stuff to talk about. And then, yeah, we're still here.
One of these days, the woolen mill's we're gonna open the door and recut that ribbon at the woolen mill, and I look forward to being there.
I can't wait. We're gonna do it with gleaming cans of Lysol, and you know what?
Yep. Maybe we should do those Leslie Nielsen full body condoms from like whatever that movie was.
If we can get some of those, I would love to.
Yeah.
The biggest question will be with the current state of how offended everyone is do we get plexiglass or bulletproof glass to protect the stage?
Semen-proof glass.
Not a bad idea.
I always wanted to perform against chicken wire.
Well, I was thinking if we had plexiglass, it'd feel like one of those booths you go in the city.
and squeegee it off
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah. You can find me at Instagram, Twitter, and Parlor at Foley Kills, or just find me on Facebook at GW Foley.
Add him as a friend if you need more
Yeah.
friends.
I need more.
Colin, sir, where can we find you in the woolen mill?
Well, we're working hard to bring you live comedy, folks. It isn't an easy task, but we're writing the protocol to do it safely and responsibly, and we'll be doing that soon.
Also follow
Yes,
Colin
I'm
on Facebook, Instagram. Follow the Woolen Mill Comedy Club on Facebook
Oh,
and
yeah.
Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
You can follow.
I just want to say, I literally have none of that stuff because, like, as a stand-up comedian and, like, as a recently no longer working, but high school teacher, you gotta, like, I can't put links to me talking about, blowing truckers and farm animals on the internet. So I completely had to just dissolve my social media presence in that regard. So I wasn't being I just got nothing. I got an Instagram so that I could like post pictures of my kid. And even then, I don't want people seeing pictures of my kid knowing like, hey, that's the guy that talked about blowing a sheep, or that actually did it, So I just try and keep those worlds separate. I just want to make that.
That's very fair, my friend. I don't blame you at all.
Off the radar.
You can follow me at HickoryTDAU on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Parlor. I post a little bit more over there now. And I have started uploading the shows to YouTube, Hickory the Drunk and Underwhelming on YouTube. So if you want to catch shows there, I figured I've been putting them up. And I usually forget to film like the first 2 minutes. So it usually starts with like halfway to whoever who opens the show. So yeah, there's those if you want to go over there. And I don't know, follow me. Maybe I'll post some more stuff at some point. Anyways, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Dicky B, G-Dubs, Colin, for another great week.
Great.
Episode 19. Next week will be episode 20. I'm sure we will do something kind of silly or special, or I don't know, who knows? Maybe we'll have a non-comic on that's just a fan of the show, and that'll be fun too. GW will maybe stand up without his pants on next show. That'll be who knows? Episode 20 could get crazy, guys. Watch out. We might.
I gotta get one of those things that goes.
Please, everybody out there, please remember to stay safe, stay drunk, stay underwhelming, but most importantly, stay out of the riots. We'll see you next week.